All right, I'd like to call the Planning Commission for Snoqualmie City to order June 1st, 7:03 PM. Ooh, thank you very much. Okay. Lost my packet. Okay, first we'll do some roll call. And oh my gosh, Tanya, I don't know your last name. Lavoy. Lavoy. We have a new planning commissioner today, Tanya Lavoy. Commissioner Lavoy. Present. Commissioner Maruziak.
Present.
Commissioner Hurley.
Present.
Commissioner Lambert.
Present.
And I am Commissioner Kilcup, present as well. So I call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the agenda approval. Does anyone see any need for adjustments?
No.
All right. Do I move that?
Yeah.
I'm still learning. Okay, I move that the agenda be approved as written.
Second.
So moved.
Also moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay. And then we're opening for public comment. I'd like to open for public comment at 7:04 PM. Do we have anyone? Is there anyone in the waiting room? No?
They have to be in person.
Oh, they have to be
give
in person for
public
this.
comment.
Okay. No one is present for public comment, so I will close that at 7:04 PM. Looks like the next item is approval of the minutes for May 19th. Should be an easy one.
I move that we approve the minutes as written.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so moved. Okay. Trekking right along. Approval of the warrants and claims.
No, those are,
Am I in the wrong?
On the agenda, we're.
Oh, I'm in the wrong thing. Sorry.
that's
Funny.
city council.
I know, I lost when I'm so sorry. I know, I'm like, I don't know what that is. Okay, apology for that. Okay, new business. Electing of a new chair. So we lost our wonderful chair to the city council, and now we need to elect a new chair and potentially vice chair.
So, can we have a discussion maybe?
Sure.
Do you want to be chair?
I am open to being chair.
Okay. Then I nominate Vice Chair Kilcup as chair of the Planning Commission.
Okay, and I would like to nominate Commissioner.
Wait, one more time.
Oh, do I have to say yes?
No.
Oh.
Well, we
Seconded.
already said you're okay.
She would have to accept the nomination, so you'd have to state that you
Oh, okay.
accept the
I
nomination.
accept the nomination. Thank you. And then what happens?
Seconded? You, at this time too, you can ask if there's any other nominations, and then once we've gotten all the nominations, we would then proceed to the voting.
Any other nomination? I would like to nominate Commissioner Maruziak to be the vice chair as well.
Let's
No, one
first,
at a time?
yeah, first
Oh, so sorry.
stay with the chair
Okay.
votes, and then after we conclude the voting on the chair, then if it is you, then we'll proceed to vice chair voting.
Okay. So shall we vote? Any discussion? I know it's everyone's just clamoring for this
Vice chair
position.
for you. I think you've been chair.
What's that?
I said you've been vice chair for a year. I think you'd make a good chair.
Thank you.
So it's been seconded.
Okay, so shall we vote?
Say all in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Congratulations, Jim.
Thank you so much. Okay, and now I would like to nominate Commissioner Maruziak to be vice chair.
I would do it. Yes, I'd be happy to do it.
He has accepted. Is anyone second?
Seconded.
Great. Any questions or additional nominations? Okay, all in favor of Commissioner Maruziak becoming vice chair?
Aye.
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 Okay.
Hooray. Did we do it?
That was easy.
Was it? Okay. All right, and then the presentation tonight. Also, did everyone see the email from Director Davis about the presentation from last week? Okay. Just want to make sure that didn't get lost. It was very good.
Thank you.
Okay, and then next item on our agenda is the conceptual design of a new site plan for FBMU zone. Exciting.
Okay, with that, I am going to introduce Allison Kirk, and she's going to give us an initial overview of what the conceptual design requirements look like, just to give you all a brief overview and kind of a little like 101 lesson. And then she's going to go into introducing a new project that we have coming for Design Review Board in the future, and then introduce the project applicants who are here tonight to also probably get up and talk a little bit and answer any questions you have. So with that, Allison, do you want to take it away?
Thank you. All right, my name is Allison Kirk. I'm the Associate Planner with Community Development Department. I think we've met at least once before. We have a pretty exciting project coming in. I believe this is going to be our first kind of large mixed-use project in our form-based mixed-use code. So I thought we'd kind of give a little introduction to the project as well as an introduction to the form-based mixed-use code, because I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with it. And just to preface, you guys need to put your DRB Design Review Board caps on for this presentation. I'm joined here tonight by Amy Donelon and Cliff Lowe. They are representing the Skyview at Snoqualmie Live Work Development. Following my presentation, I'll invite Amy and Cliff up to introduce themselves, and they can answer any questions you have regarding their initial concept. Please note that they have not submitted for a formal design review application. This is a preliminary kind of introduction, so there will be no deliberation, voting, or final decision making on the project. So for our agenda, it's pretty easy. We'll be reviewing the city's formal design review process within the larger development review process, and then we'll be introducing the Mount Skyview project within the context of the form-based mixed-use zoning district. So this is our development review process, simplified. There are about 9 or 10 total steps, all the way from a pre-application meeting, which is where the applicant has the opportunity to kind of submit their preliminary drawings, and staff provides recommendations on how to move forward with the project and what permits are necessary. That's basically where we are now. So we haven't submitted for a formal application. Once they do submit, there's a number of things that'll happen, including staff will complete the public noticing requirements, and they will also start their technical review of the application, draft their staff report, and prepare it for the design review meeting. That happens in the little highlighted bubble at step 7. So after today's meeting, the next time you see this project will be all the way down at step 7. Before we jump into the specific project, I want to highlight the purpose of our design review guidelines and how they get implemented through the development review process. Snoqualmie Municipal Code establishes 6 core guidelines for evaluating projects' consistency with our local design standards. The key elements that are evaluated include the structure's relationship to the site and adjoining properties, landscape and site treatment, overall building design, and the integration of like miscellaneous structures and street furniture. These high-level guidelines are directly implemented through the specific development and dimensional standards found throughout the municipal code. And in the case for this project, the form-based mixed-use zone prescribes specific design standards that support the implementation of these guidelines. So a little bit on the project. The property is located at the corner of Railroad Avenue and Southeast Beta Street. The site is comprised of 4 underlying lots of record, totaling approximately 28,800 square feet. The project is entirely located within the form-based mixed-use zoning district, as well as the city's downtown retail overlay district. So I'll give you a little visual of how the site kind of fits into the downtown core. So I don't know if you can see it super well, but the project site is located in the blue area that's just southeast of the downtown core. You'll notice the historic district that's highlighted in black, and then our landmarks overlay that's highlighted in yellow. This sits just outside within that blue form-based mixed-use area. So I know we talk a lot about the different downtown overlays and districts, and I just kind of wanted to give you an idea of where this one lies and where it doesn't lie. Now let's go into some of the key elements of form-based code. So unlike traditional zoning, form-based regulations establish standards using preset block frontage designations. And our code prescribes 4 different block frontage designations, including storefront, mixed, landscape, and then other. And these designations strictly prescribe standards for things like ground floor uses, building placement and setbacks, building entrances, facade transparency, weather protection, the location of parking and driveways, required landscaping, and elements of the public realm like sidewalks, pedestrian lighting, and street trees. So this is a little table taken right from our code that kind of gives the breakdown of the 4 different types and general like site planning or site layout design for each type. This is the block frontage designation map that's provided in the code. So you'll see it kind of aligns with our form-based mixed use designation map. And it goes through each street and identifies a type of block frontage associated with the table or based on the table on the previous slide. Now looking at this particular project, it's pretty unique because it fronts on 3 different frontages. I think it's probably the only property in the form-based mixed use code that does this. The storefront designation is along Railroad, which you'll see in red there. Mixed use designation is along Falls Avenue in purple, and the other designation is along Southeast Beta Street. To respond to these varying rules, the layouts propose ground floor live work retail space along Railroad and residential duplexes along Falls Avenue. So you'll see in the little renderings along the street there, along Railroad, they have the buildings, pushed up to the street. They have their retail entrances and storefront windows, whereas on the backside of Falls Avenue, they have kind of more traditional front yard, landscape yards. They're set back a little bit farther. So the project's kind of responding. Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, sorry. Yes, question.
Would you explain what live work retail space means? I think that might not be a term all of us might be familiar with.
Yeah, so and I'll let the applicant come up as well when they come up and describe their project. But it's essentially a residential unit where a certain area of it is designated for like a commercial purpose. So in this floor plan, you would have like a retail or commercial area on the bottom floor, and it's internally connected, I believe, to the residential unit up above. So going in, I'll describe it a little more in detail. Along that Railroad Avenue, the project introduces 3 live work buildings consisting of 2 duplexes and 1 triplex for a total of 7 live work units. Each building is 3 stories tall and features a 2-car carport and 426 square feet of ground floor commercial space. The area along Falls Avenue proposes 4 duplex structures totaling 8 residential units. Each unit stands also at 3 stories, featuring attached 2-car garage, and offers around 1,400 feet of living area, as well as outdoor amenities such as a deck on the primary ground or primary living floor, and then a rooftop deck. So in total, it's about 15 residential units in addition to the three three work commercial ground floor spaces. In addition to block frontage, the second major tenet of the form-based code focuses on building design and articulation. The standards require that building facades be broken up horizontally and vertically to prevent kind of monotonous facades, and ensures there's a pleasant human scale relationship to the streetscape. Under the code, facades are broken into distinct vertical segments. Within each segment, the developer must incorporate design elements such as window fenestration, weather protection, variations in roof line, recessed entries, pedestrian scale light fixtures, and a mix of building materials and colors. The applicant has provided detailed elevations as well as renderings within their submittal, and that was provided in your packets this evening. Next, I'll invite Amy and Cliff up, and they can kind of walk you guys through their design concept. But before we do that, I just want to mention one last thing on design departures. So this is another key feature of the form-based mixed-use code. So for every design standard, the applicant is able to request a departure from that standard if they believe that they can meet the intent of the standard through some other means. So this will be your guys' role in the review process, is if they are requesting a departure, it is for you to evaluate and decide. Of course, you'll have staff's analysis and recommendation to help you out with that. At this stage in the project, the applicant has identified one potential departure, which concerns the required ground floor height standard along the storefront designation along Railroad. And with that, I'm going to invite Amy and Cliff up to the podium. I'll have them introduce ourselves, and then we can go into questions.
Just to clarify.
Yeah.
Question, all this is information. We're not going to be asked to vote on anything today, true?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Did anyone have any questions either on the form-based code? Okay.
Great. So, good evening, commissioners. And first of all, my name is Cliff Lowe. This is Allison. Hey, I do that all the time. So Amy Donlin, and I have Bill Birch, the architect. I think he is participating virtually. So I want to thank you all for the opportunity here. Especially I want to thank Allison and Mona. They've been super instrumental, very professional in helping us think through this process. I know that it's a very new designation, and so it's been super encouraging and helpful to find just get their advice on how to do things. And so first of all, just wanted to let you know that I'm born and raised in the Northwest, so super excited about what we're doing here. My family lives here. We want to live in this area. And so we're super committed to what we're doing. And so my wife and I, as I said, my wife and I raised our children here in the Northwest, and we plan to remain here for many years. Like many families, we're drawn to communities such as Snoqualmie because of what makes them special. The mountains, the trails, the open space, just the beauty. But being very close to Seattle makes it a very special place. And so we wanted to really consider that as we're going through this whole development process. We're asking questions like what could fit in site based on the form-based mixed-use requirements. So as we study the form-based district and the city's comprehensive plan, the 2044 plan, one of the things that became very clear is that it wanted kind of this complete community, this idea that you could both live and work and do life kind of in the same area. And so that's one of the things we considered significantly. That vision resonated quite well with us because culture has changed dramatically with technology, remote work, entrepreneurship, and professional services have changed so much around here. The relationship between where people live and where they work has come closer together. People, rather than wanting to get in a car and drive someplace, they want to be able to live in a place, and then if they're professional, have their office downstairs or in the same building. And so this actually lends well to that process. We intentionally chose Live Workspace because it provides flexibility that can support entrepreneurs, consultants, designers, therapists, accountants, real estate professionals. So you're asking that question of what does that look like? I hope maybe we could answer. I hope that answers that. But I think the key thing is people want to also work, do remote work. People love that opportunity. And this is a type of design that's being used throughout the Northwest, or actually throughout the United States. So it's becoming a very common thing. I know North Bend has that design, like Kirkland and Issaquah and several other jurisdictions. So that was part of the process that we went through as we're considering this. It's becoming super popular. And again, it's because people want to be able to be very close to where they live, work very close to where they live. One thing I appreciate about the form-based mixed-use district is that it starts with a different question. It's not simply asking what belongs on the property, but what kind of place are we trying to create? Railroad Avenue is much more than a transportation corridor. It's an important part of Snoqualmie, and one of the places where the city's long-term vision is taking shape. It connects neighborhoods and businesses downtown to the broader community. What attracted us to the site was the opportunity to contribute to that vision. And I think what we're doing actually hits that well. Yeah, we view this as kind of part of the larger story of where you guys are actually going as I look at both the comprehensive plan and the general guidelines for form-based mixed-use development. So this project is not asking the city to become something different. It's an opportunity to help implement and strengthen the city's future vision, or the current vision that you guys have for the future. You guys were asking about departures. One thing we are asking for in the departure is right now, as the form-based mixed use, it tends to focus very heavily on this whole retail concept. Like if you walk into like downtown Bellevue or downtown Kirkland, they have these 13-foot ceilings. And because of kind of a live workspace, if you think about like a professional, if you walk into a CPA's office, 13-foot ceiling seems excessive. And so from a appeal, like what would work best for a workspace, we would like to request that we come down to 11-foot ceiling. I think, again, because this is a workspace, an office space, a professional space, I think lower ceilings, or we propose that lower ceilings would actually be a solution that would fit this type of product better. And so with that, and yeah, thank you for the consideration. Amy, do you have anything to add?
No, I don't have anything to add, but if you guys have any questions from the design or anything like that, we're happy to answer some questions.
I have a
Yes.
question.
Yes,
Are you talking 11 feet of floor to ceiling or floor to floor?
floor to ceiling,
Okay, so clear.
yes.
But
So-
we're also thinking about, on Railroad Avenue, you're supposed to have a lot of glazing, or it's supposed to be pedestrian oriented, and you have the open windows and that kind of stuff, doors, and so that space is really open to the public, that they're walking by and they can see inside these professional offices or service industry, whatever is going to be in there. But when we go with putting the residential space over top of that, with the height limitations, it's tricky for us to do that if we have to do a 13-foot ceiling on the first floor. And it just doesn't seem warranted because we're not doing like big box retail. We're not doing anything that necessarily needs that kind of space. If it's going to be, office or professional services, or it's a salon or something like that, it's not really warranted for that.
I think as we looked, this area is not in the overlay, the downtown overlay, is that what they call it?
Mhm.
The downtown overlay. And so I feel like that is kind of that retail space where you have shops and actually you guys have church there now. But as you step farther out, I think it's better to have kind of the more residential feel to it. And so this is a really good transition. I think one of the things we're thinking about is like this works now. So as we did some research, people would buy this today because they would love it. There's just the beauty of what you guys have in this city, with what people are looking for. People would want to move in, but it would also actually work well as you guys, as the city continues to grow and mature. It would still be a perfect place because it's just far enough out where people could still walk into the city. It would actually draw people into the city because as we did the research, I think there's one of the traffic reports says there's 10,000 cars that go through a day. And so this would actually could draw people in because as professionals, like if a CPA or financial planner draws people to the area to do business, as a client, they actually would see the community here and find this, more attractive. And of course, be able to come into the central area and do commerce and, enjoy the amenities that you guys offer in the overlay area.
Well, you're also, as Allison pointed out, it's kind of the edge of the end of the zone. So it's a good, like Cliff said, it's a good transition area, to have the residential and the commercial space there. And then it builds into your more downtown area where you have other businesses like restaurants and other things. So, and it's still close enough to be able to walk to those things. So you have that livable space that people can just be like, oh, I'm gonna go down to the local restaurant down the street. I can walk a few blocks, and I can also go downstairs to my office and work from home. It just gives a different flexibilities, but it's not so overwhelmingly commercial that it impacts the other residential areas around there.
Good. Any other questions for the applicants? Yes, Commissioner Lambert?
Just so I'm clear, the commercial space that is down below is going to be connected to the residents that are above it.
It's going to have both access. So
Businesses can come in that are not necessarily the tenants above?
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it can.
Yeah, it'll have an internal connection between the residential area. It doesn't necessarily have to be open. It could lease that space out
Yeah.
to somebody else. And then they'll have the street frontage and the access directly onto Railroad.
Thank you.
Right, yeah. There is an aspect where you can live up there, you could lease out down below, you could actually have your professional business down below. It creates that flexibility, so it's in some ways allows approachability from not just the residents, but potential other tenants that can be in the area.
Any other questions? Yes?
I'm curious on the square foot per unit. You've got 1,679 square feet. And in one case, another case looks like you have just shy of 1,500. And you have 2 units per building. Is there any consideration of putting 3 units in at roughly 1,000 square foot per?
3, like a triplex instead of a duplex. Well, there's definitely one triplex mixed use, with the live workspace. But I think one of the things that people like is they don't like being in the center because you lose the light. And, with the beautiful views of Snoqualmie and just there's lots of light. People want that. I don't know if that makes sense. Or did I answer your question? Maybe I
No,
misunderstood.
you
your
did.
question.
It sounds like you're looking to make it as attractive for the tenants as possible. That's what I heard. Is
Well,
that?
I would hope to make it attractive for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
well, yeah.
yeah. So, but yes, I think they're going to be very nice units to live in and to have offices in.
Okay.
So.
Great. Okay.
So in your materials on the height variance, so you mentioned that City of Essequibo and City of North Bend don't have the same prescribed minimum ground floor ceiling. Are there examples where it's at that 11-foot that's existing?
I've seen I don't have right up here, but there are definitely examples of, if you think about it, that is most live workspaces aren't going to be 13 feet high. If you were to, this is probably 10 feet here. So can you imagine another 3 feet? And if you were to meet with a counselor with a 13-foot ceiling, it would feel very impersonal or less personal for that work. So maybe I may be getting the heights wrong.
Yeah, I think this is more than 10, but the question I have is about just scale to the street front. If the retail unit has the lower ceiling height, then is that any change to the awning heights?
I could, Bill, are you there?
Andrew?
I,
Is he promoted?
Is he still on?
He hasn't accepted
I
as a
I do
panelist.
believe too,
So-
this building here does not have a 13-foot height, lower floor ceilings either.
Okay, which building?
The new one, what do we call this? The Pines?
The
The rails.
the rails
Sorry.
next door, yes. So maybe I missed, I didn't quite hear the question.
Oh, no, I was responding, the 13-foot height, I don't believe the rails has the 13-foot ceiling heights in their commercial space down below. I could be wrong, but I'm fairly confident of it.
I'm not sure.
You were
We'll
talking
look
about
into
the,
that.
the outdoor, the,
I think his comment was more to her comment, right, about
Mhm.
the height, and then I was asking about the exterior awnings, just in terms of scale to the streetscape.
well, I think they would be lower because but at least the way our renderings have it, they're right at the break between the roof line for the retail space and or the commercial space and then up to the residential area. So I think, I don't know what the requirement is off the top of my head for the height for those awnings.
Yeah, I don't either. I know that there will be a requirement for weather protection. So I'm trying to speedily look it up, but that may be another either deviation request. Yeah,
That might be a
departure
request,
request.
so that's a good thing to bring up. Yeah, we would want it at, obviously functionally, it makes the most sense at the same height as the first floor. So.
And I don't know if the awnings have to be just above the doors or above the whole walkway in front of. I would assume they'd be close to the door height.
Yeah, the only concern I have there is really just creating that, walkability, and if it feels too low, that it's not a nice feeling scale for walking down that street.
Sure.
It doesn't have to be determined just yet.
It is the sidewalk there too is, I believe, 8 feet wide in front of the storefront area, so, I totally agree. I get what you're saying, but the awning wouldn't be all the way out for that either.
Yeah. And then there's no parking provided for the commercial spaces.
We have, a few spaces open in the back, and technically, I think we only need one per unit, so they are carports in the back.
Okay.
And then we have 2, non-covered spaces as well.
And there's street parking there, yeah?
There's also street.
There's
parking.
street parking. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the idea is that for each of the live work, you'd have one parking spot for whoever lives there, and then one for actually visitors to the office.
So the parking that we're seeing in the garage, is that what
Carport.
we're referring to?
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. There'll be carports, not
Oh,
garages.
okay.
One of them would be designated for
Gotcha.
the living space, and then the other one could be commercial space, a commercial open
Yeah.
parking spot, and then we have 2 surface spots as well.
Okay.
The Falls Avenue duplexes will have garages, but yeah.
It is limited on site.
And just to circle back, weather protection needs to be provided within 8 and 15 feet of the sidewalk.
Okay.
So yeah,
Should be fine.
they should be fine.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments, commissioners?
What is the code reason for having 13-foot ceilings? Do we know?
I am not sure, no.
I think, just speaking generally, that would be considered a normal height in a commercial space, but as I said, this is, since they have residences above, then it sort of changes it changes a lot actually for what that space is, because if you look at the floor plan, those are what, 400 or 500 square foot?
420.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, from a scale perspective, as opposed to if it were this size room and had the lower ceilings, you'd really feel it.
If there isn't a variance granted, does that mean that you guys would need to put a drop ceiling in or something like that instead?
I'm sorry, what was it?
If the variance wasn't granted, would we change the design? If the variance wasn't granted, we'd have some issues, I think, with the rooftop
Yeah,
decks.
yeah, one of the things we want to create open space for the rooftop deck because of the views.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you, sir. Could you speak in the microphone?
Yeah, sorry. We do want to create, we like the idea of rooftop decks as part of the open space, just because the views, they're amazing, right? So,
So I think the issue is the required height. If they're to put 2 floors of residential above, which is their plan, that's what's shrinking down the retail space.
Because of the maximum height of the building?
Right.
yes.
Thank you.
Mhm. Do we have any more questions, comments?
Just a comment, I know we're kind of coming at you, fire, like a firing squad, but this looks like it would really spruce up the area and really take it a notch up. So definitely appreciate the work.
Mhm.
Appreciate
Yeah.
your work put into this.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll also say, like, as the zoning has changed, the first project that goes in, it seems odd at first, right? It seems tall.
Mhm.
But as things fill in around that, I think this will be a really nice scale, as you mentioned.
Yeah, I heard the word gateway, kind of a different gate, kind of setting a new standard. Not that, I'm not saying that here is not great, but I think there's kind of this area between kind of the downtown and where our property is that just feels like it needs some sprucing up. But I think probably all on the same page with that. So I hope this does that. I believe this will do that. So.
It's also nice to get to use. It's been a vacant property for quite some time. So, it's underutilized right now. So we're trying to create a space that has residences, which the city needs, and then more commercial space too.
It's great. Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioners and Allison and Mona and the rest of the staff.
Okay, so it looks like we're moving on to council liaison report.
Council liaison report. So at our last council meeting, the council passed a moratorium for battery energy storage systems within the city of Snoqualmie. We also worked through several other public safety bills and ordinances, excuse me. And that was kind of the major issue that we faced, but happy to take any questions from the commissioners. Yes.
Isn't the battery storage facility not in the city of Snoqualmie?
That's correct. Yes, the proposal that's out there is in unincorporated King County. The ordinance passed was for prospective facilities within the city limits.
Okay. Any other questions?
General questions?
So what does that mean for the battery facility then? You said a moratorium. I'm not quite sure what that means.
Sure. So, and I guess what can I, could you be a little more specific? with your
What's the
question?
net effect of what you guys decided?
Sure. So the ordinance puts a 12-month moratorium for the development of battery energy storage facilities within the city of Snoqualmie city limits. It requires a 60-day public hearing within 60 days, and has a work plan of different areas of study that the council will look into related to land use and other types of impacts related to that. It's also I guess a legislative way for the city to stake a legislative position with respect to battery energy storage systems within the city of Snoqualmie. But its practical impact on the unincorporated Cascadia project, it does not extend, its reach does not extend to that particular project.
Okay. So is there anything you can tell us about the initiative to incorporate that piece of property from King County within the city limits,
To annex.
to annex it? Thank you.
I don't believe there's an ongoing initiative
There is
to
not.
do that at this point in time.
And I believe even if we were to annex it, it would be, that moratorium happened behind their permitting. So I think they're vested.
So there's nothing the city can do to stop the battery facility from going in? Is that what we're saying?
I'll,
I'm not trying
Pass.
to pin you to the spot. or
no,
anything,
no,
I'm just
no, I
trying to
think the mayor might have something to add on this.
Going back to your previous question, the process by which property in the UGA can come into the city involves the owners of the property applying to the city. It's not a process by which the city can impose, sort of force them into the city. There's a mechanism for that, but it takes many years and it's just not something that would likely be done. It's not something that's regularly done. So technically it's possible, but it's just not a thing that's done. So any kind of annexation in is something that the owners of the property would have to ask for. And in this case, the properties involved are under contract with that developer. And so they control what those property owners would do. So I think you were asking a
That
question
answered the
about
first question,
annexation.
yes.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. So there's nothing currently we can do. That's all in King County's hands at the moment.
I'll also add that in addition to the moratorium that went through, the council and the administration have co-signed a letter to the Washington State Utilities and Transportation Commission with respect to Puget Sound Energy's role in current rate increases and incorporation of potential projects like battery storage facilities, how they impact those rate increases. Those are also areas for the city to take to weigh in with regulatory bodies as it relates to this kind of broader issue. So I wanted to make sure that that was communicated as well, because that was the other thing that we were able to work together on.
Yes, Mayor Mayhew.
Yeah, the reason both of us might have looked a little bit funny about your question is it's a broad statement. There's nothing you can do. So while it's true that we don't have any regulatory authority over areas outside of the city limits, that doesn't mean that there's nothing we can do. There's nothing that we can directly do with laws, essentially nothing we can do with laws in areas we don't have jurisdiction over. That doesn't mean there's nothing we can do. For example, the city has been working for quite some number of weeks now, publicly known, to try to help residents' concerns be well articulated and well represented into the King County permitting process that's going on. So that there are a whole series of things that individual council members are doing, that I myself am doing, that are going on, in which the city and the elected representatives are trying to influence on our residents' behalf the concerns that our residents have. So there's quite a bit of activity. So when you say there's nothing we can do, there's much that we can do, but it's also a tricky subject, because what we sometimes worry that the question is, well, can you directly do something? And the answer is actually, we cannot we don't have the authority to directly do things, but that doesn't mean there's nothing we can do. So hopefully that was a helpful answer.
Thank you.
Okay.
Commissioner Mruzak?
Did you?
Oh, yes.
And I just wanted to state too, as your role on the planning commission, that you have a quasi judicial role. And the jurisdiction for the best project now is outside of the city, but if projects were ever to come into the city, it's important to just state your concerns, but not to show any bias one way or another on a project. Because if that's stated, there would be the potential where you'd have to recuse yourself from voting on any land use or whatever in the purview of the planning commission.
Thank you.
One last update that I failed to mention was the council's approval of a economic development and human services coordinator role that will sit, I believe, under Mona's team. That individual will be largely responsible for supporting the city's business recruitment and working with our business community, our Chamber of Commerce, to kind of solidify our retail corridors and other kind of sectors as well, and also working with some of our human services community to align kind of the city's work with their work. So I'm very excited about the role. This is a position that many on the council have been very supportive of for quite some time, and we're excited to see our city kind of lean in this way.
That's great. Commissioner Rosiak?
So yes, some changing subjects. So we had homework after our non-quorum meeting last time to listen to the Burke presentation. And there's a whole lot of things I could talk about, but I want to highlight one thing, and it kind of goes to what I heard Mayor Mayhew say in the previous meeting of, let's make sure we're communicating well with the public. In that presentation, they said our current comprehensive plan has gaps per King County mandates. And I could go a whole lot in there, but let me just zone in on a point. I think it's critical with the timing that was presented in that, which is very tight, that we communicate those gaps so that everybody understands them before we're deep into what are we going to do with what Councilmember Johnson calls that beige blob of zoning up on the ridge. I think, anyway, I think that communication, could not be early enough. And again, I could say a lot more, but let me just stop there.
Well put. Okay. Good. Okay, I think we're ready for our department report.
Okay, perfect. Well, that was a good segue. I do intend to have a vigorous public engagement around our comprehensive plan update this year, particularly on the housing and the land use elements within the comp plan. As you know, there's going to be a big lift to try to go in and rezone the big beige blob, as some of our council members refer to it. And so I'm intending, and as I said in the email too, that I sent to you Friday, we need to, really have a strong public presence and engagement over the summer. So we'll be at a lot of events, and we'll be hosting open houses. Much of that will probably start here at the Planning Commission level as well. So we need to stay engaged, and I will keep you updated as things are happening, because things are going to be happening really quickly. Yeah.
So again, the word that was highlighted to me was King County has mandates. So it's not you should do this, it's you will do this. And I think it's important when we do these open houses, the public understands this you got to do. Right?
Yes.
There's a lot of things that you can figure out how to approach it, but this you got to do per the county. And that's the part where I think the communication needs to be very clear
Yeah.
and understood actually even before we get everybody together. I think we should be communicating that.
Yes, we will make that very clear to show what the cities are required to do under the King County countywide planning policies, the State Department of Commerce. There's a lot of elements that go into creating the regulations that need to happen for each city. So we will make that very clear.
Yeah, but
throughout the
providing that
process.
kind of contextual narrative so that it's similar with this battery storage, there's so many people I talk to that are just like, oh, just stop it. It's like, well, it's not that easy. So similarly, this is something that we need to comply with, and it'll be a matter of doing it well.
We do have more control on what happens within the city's jurisdiction than we do outside the city's jurisdiction. So
Certainly. Okay.
I also wanted to just touch base really quick. In addition to the events, which we've got a few events coming up in June. Big Truck Day is coming on the 25th, and that's moving up to the community park this year. It was formerly down at Centennial Park. So you will see a big presence with staff there. There's also an outdoor jamboree that's coming to Meadowbrook Farm on June 24th. And then let me run through some of the new things that have happened in May that you might find of interest. We processed roughly 12 building permits relating to, for example, an interior renovation of the hotel lobby up on the Parkway, including the addition of a new bar space. They are taking out the wall by the old Domino's space to allow for the Salish Veterinary Clinic to expand. We have processed, I believe, 2 more buildings for timber trails for the duplexes. There's been a remodel of the Morningstar Montessori, and we've got 2 new businesses coming in. One is a new Pilates studio up on Center Boulevard, and that was in the former dog spa location. And then there's a new business coming formerly where the mini treehouse was. That's going to be a new coffee shop and bookstore within that existing space, and that will be called River and Rain. And then we all, or the mayor, I should say, went to a ribbon cutting Thursday night at the Rails across the street on Maple. And people were able to go in and tour the new apartments, and they're really quite lovely. So they had their ribbon cutting. The owner graciously invited people in. That's currently operating under a temporary certificate of occupancy while they just wrap up some final loose ends. And that's
That's good. I'm curious, what are those units gonna rent for? Any ballpark number?
for the rents. You know, I really don't know off the top of my head. I'd be guessing, but they are market rate rentals.
Sure, it's online.
Yeah, it is online.
Okay,
Yes.
check that.
Yes.
Little research project.
Oh, just curious, where does it fall?
Yes. So I am going to be out of the office for a couple of weeks, starting this Thursday. The next regular planning commission meeting, both Allison and Robert are going to bring a food truck discussion to you to just kind of get that conversation rolling. And other than that, I've been working with our consultant. Allison and I met with them today, and they're working up a schedule so we kind of know what's coming and what we need to be prepared for, and discussing during our meetings. This probably be pretty rigorous this summer and fall. We're working on kind of going through the zoning map right now and trying to figure out what the new zoning would likely be based on the built environment. So we will be creating some exhibits and that type of thing to bring out to share with the community and be able to start those discussions. So stay tuned. More is coming.
Great. Any questions? Yeah, I just ask that whenever you have those community outreach events that you let us know. So
Yes, I will keep you
we can
posted.
do our best to be there as well, supporting you.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. Well, is there any other questions? I think then we are adjourned at, oh, what?
Motion to adjourn.
I'd like to make the motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so now we're adjourned at 7:57.
Just being your vice chair.
I know.